Prosecutor, she sabotages the hearing. The judge doubles my bond to $1.5 million cash only. Now, when your bond goes over a mil, you're automatically reclassified from medium security over to maximum security, which was mostly murderers. And I ended up in a cellmate with a crystal meth chemist. So, go over to max, 2 in the morning. I've been in like prison transportation all day, sitting in holding cells and whatnot, pretty tired. And I get to the cell in the Madison Street jail, walk in, and it's a 2-man cell, and I see my cellmate asleep on the top bunk at the back. I'm thinking, that's a bit weird. Wonder why he's not on the bottom bunk, because where I come from, people fight over the bottom bunk. So I was thinking something's not quite right. Walk in a little bit more. Something drops off the ceiling and bounces off my shoulder. I'm like, what was that? And I'm looking around at the walls and the ceiling. And I can see this strange movement, like a swirl effect. I think my eyes are playing tricks. I'm tripping. So I put my face right up to the wall to see what was going on. And it was absolutely covered in American cockroaches, about the size of an almond nut. And they were just coming out of holes in the wall. The bunk where I was supposed to sleep at, there was like these brackets attached to the wall, and they were just pouring out inches away from the bunk. And I'm thinking, I've got used to the violence by now, but how am I going to deal with this? How am I going to get to sleep? So I'm noticing my cellmate, he's got like this cocoon around him, this white sheet, and a breathing hole, so he looks like the mummy. So I got on the bunk, wrapped myself up in the sheet. But this is the Sonoran Desert. It's almost like 120, 130 degrees on your scale, almost 50 degrees on our scale. And if you wrap yourself up in a sheet, it traps that hot air to your body. And you've already got all these bleeding and itching skin infections and bed sores because there's hardly any air coming into the cell. It's like a swamp cooler. But the only time it worked was when the county health inspector walked through the building. So you're so itchy and your skin's so soggy, though, from sweating, scratch yourself, clumps of your own skin comes off under your nails. So you're compressed in this sheet around you, and all this sweat's just driving you insane. And in the end, you're like, you just throw the sheet off, just let them crawl on you. Now, fortunately, they don't bite. They start out tickling your feet, your limbs. To this day, if anyone tickles my hands, I flinch because I woke up some nights I'm tickling my hands. Get on your face, mouth, nose. But the favorite place of all is going in your ears to eat your earwax. It's like honey to them. I mean, I would rip a piece of towel and make a little cloth to wash my face. And sometimes I'd dig in my ears and get the earwax out, and I'd put it somewhere to dry. And the cockroaches would get on the flannel and they'd be like pulsing on the earwax, just sucking the earwax up. So that was their special treat. Now, this was constant 8 at night was lockdown. All the prisoners go back to the cells. Guards lock the doors. You shut in there. 10, lights out. Just before the lights go out, the cockroaches line up in the cracks in the wall, doing this movement with that antennae sticking out, like an army waiting to invade. Then as soon as the lights go out, that's it. They just flood the room. So over time, you got all these fungal infections on your skin. And so over time, you just accept that they're going to crawl on you. I woke up, constantly with them tickling me, going on my face, on my mouth. And you kind of, in the end, you're rebelling against it and you're going days and days without sleep. And they had to put me on some medication. But you learn to be at peace with your cellmates, whether they are humans or insects in the long run. Otherwise, you're going to do yourself in psychologically. So I learned all of their characteristics. If you start like slapping a sandal down on one, it releases a chemical smell, and these warrior ones come running under your cell door. If they manage to lay the eggs, which are in a piece of a worm, it looks like a piece of a worm, and they'll attach that under your bunk or they'll attach that to one of your books. If you don't notice it and that thing bursts open and all those little ones come out, they're all over the place as well then. Some prisoners were doing cockroach races, gambling on the winner. If you try and drown them, they just pretend that they're drowned. They get into this position, but they're actually holding oxygen to themselves. They're just crafty little bastards. I saw white ones, look like albino ones. But yeah, I mean, I'd just watch them in the end and just laugh at them. And I would cement the toothpaste, cement all the cracks in the walls. I remember one time I cemented my whole cell and I was so proud of myself. The smell smelled minty fresh. They had this, Sheriff Joe Arpaio gave us this toothpaste called Fresh. And years later, it was, I think he was buying it from China or something. Years later, it was learned there was like antifreeze in it and all this kind of shit.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So that night that I sealed the whole cell up and I was at peace, the guards come, roll up, Attwood, we're moving you to another cell, and I didn't have any toothpaste left. And that cell was just even worse with the cockroaches from the cell that I'd left. I tried to meditate at night. In my black and white striped trousers, pants, I tuck them into my pink shorts, sit on some books, get in the position, and I've got my trousers tucked into my socks so that they can't, start crawling up my legs. I'm just a few inches away from the wall, and they're all over the wall behind me. But when you're asleep, when you're trying to sleep on that bunk, the bunk is like inches away from the wall. So they're just there right in front of your face all night long. So I was in that maximum security facility for another year after my first year. Spent my whole second year, 20 and 2 months, a year and 2 months in the maximum security Madison Street Jail, which was, completely cockroach infested. So I had to learn to harmonize with the insects.
And this was in Arizona still?
Oh yeah, all my time was done in Arizona. Yeah, it was a state offense. The feds dropped it.
Now you talk a lot about a guy named Two Tonys.
Yeah.
Is that where you met him?
No, I met him in the prison system.
Okay.
So jail is where you are on remand, which means in America that you're unsentenced. So it's very transitory environment. All the new arrestees are coming in and out. People have been beat up by the cops in gunfights. People are high. People are drunk. And it's just bedlam. And they've got these cells that are supposed to hold one person, but they go up to 4 people in each cell. So all the buildings are like 3 to 4 times the amount of people that should be in them. So it's just mayhem. And then, like I said in the previous videos, the Aryan Brotherhood prison gang decides who lives and dies in the white race. All the gangs just running the drugs through the jail. That's how they make their cash.
That guy Two Tonys, how did you end up meeting him, and what kind of effect did he have on your stay or your life afterwards?
Okay, so when I had finished my own sentence period and I got sentenced to 9.5 years, because I hadn't cooperated with the prosecutor, she'd done a number of tricks on me throughout my remand, like stopping my girlfriend from visiting me. But a final farewell was she accidentally put my 9.5 year sentence down as 34 years. So I was fast-tracked to Supermax then for about 3 or 4 months, where I wasn't supposed to be until they fixed that. After that, I got sentenced to medium security, hoping that they would be softer than, Supermax and these other places that come from Max in the jail. But I end up in a cell with a serial home invader torturer. This guy was breaking into people's houses, tying them up with duct tape and taking hammers to their kneecaps. And his welcome statement to me, I've got a padlock and a sock, could smash your brains in while you sleep, can kill you whenever I want. So he didn't like me from the get-go. He was an old con. He looked at me as a fresh fish. He just was running a tattoo shop, an illegal tattoo shop out the cell and just, doing the heroin all day. And I'm in there, I've got an education, a bit of a nerdy guy. So he didn't like that at all. So he got his mate who was a huge guy, to attack me when my parents had flown 5,000 miles to visit me for Christmas. Prison's like high school mentality with deadly consequences. The two things prisoners look forward to the most are visits and mail. So he knew by spoiling that visit, that would be devastating for me. So I'm on the way to the visit. Big guy just chicken shit move, sneaks up behind me, bam, bam, starts kidney punching.